if you can just synchronize your cellular clocks, and again, you've got trillions of cells that create you. If you can synchronize or harmonize with just nature's time, you'll be much better off. You'll be a lot healthier. You'll be a lot more, say, intelligent. You'll be a lot more connected and intuitive and energetic and more useful, by the way.
That affect our health, emotions, and intellect. In other words, are we affected by biorhythms? That's what we're going to explore today on the XI podcast with Masati. He is a space-time expert and obviously has a lot of experience with understanding how things correlate to one another. So Mas, great to have you talking about this topic today. I think a lot of people have heard of biorhythms. This based on this principle of body cycles over a 23, 28 day or 33-day period. Mm-hmm. But I'd love to know from your perspective how that, if at all, correlates to the XI way of life.
There are, thousands and thousands of biorhythms within your body, not just those 3 cycles. There's your emotional biorhythm, your sleeping biorhythm patterns, and so on like that dictate not just those three. I think scientists kind of watered it down to make it easier for people to understand. But again, just like it takes 21 days to change a habit. It doesn't really take 21 days to change a habit. People can change a habit within a flash, depending on the right, say, circumstance. There's biorhythms within you, yes, but there are cycles of time and space that affect you even more. And that's what we really have to pay attention to. And again, it sounds kind of strange. It sounds like it's way the hell out there, cycles of space and time, but your body runs on a clock. That clock is synchronized to another clock somewhere out there. Most people say clocks are synchronized to human time, or what's happening in today's society. That's why, again, or what's called a mastermind, right? You're synced in with everybody else. Well, if everybody else's clock is off, then you're off. Your biorhythm is off. The way society sees, or the way, the day and night runs in civilized societies compared to, somebody out in the jungle, again, your biorhythms or your cycles will be off. So how do you best combat that? You best combat that by, again, synchronizing yourself, not with your physical biorhythms, but biorhythms of space and time. Okay. So what this means is that your biorhythms, the 21, the 28 day, and all those cycles that you just mentioned, those are after effects of what I'm talking about. So although they could be accurate, but again, trying to change those it's very difficult if your underlying structure or underlying patterns or underlying, say, rhythms are, say, dominantly controlling your life. What you want to do is you want to synchronize yourself with what I would call nature. But nature has a natural cycle in itself. Nature has a very specific cycle that if you tune into it, you will, say, replenish yourself really fast. Because these cycles, again, it's not just about, certain periods of time, but when these cycles come in from nature, it also has a nourishing value to it as well. Okay. It's not just time frames. It's not just, say, a segment of time, again, because that's what a rhythm is, right? A cycle or a segment of time. And then that cycle starts over again. You want to synchronize yourself to nature. And as you synchronize yourself with nature, what happens is that, again, the nourishment that comes from nature, say, harmonizes you as well. You can see this very well in people who do the 18-day meditations, right? I synchronize them with, say, nature's clock time, which is very congruent to, say, your cellular clock time. That's the biorhythm that you want to really connect with. And then people feel calmer. People feel more, say, adjusted. People feel more confident. People feel more, say, comfortable, where they can get healthier and so on. So again, the way to set or prepare yourself to be at your optimal best is to be in sync with present moment time, or, say, nature. Okay? Nature, by the way, is synchronized with Earth time. Earth time is synchronized with the planetary time, and then planetary time is synced with the universal time. Okay. When those things are out of sync, this is where weather patterns, really disruptive weather patterns happen because again, nature or Earth is trying to reset itself and synchronize itself in sync with a higher, say, unit of time. Does that make sense to you? Or universal time, as I call it?
Yeah, it sounds like the fact that there is a universal intelligence far greater than what our brains can even probably process,
Yes.
being what we just, the universe and
Mhm.
galaxies and a solar system and our planet. And if we were kind of just to go down to the granular level of where we are on this planet,
Right.
we think of things in a very, we think of things as like, again, a 23, a 28 day, a 33-day cycle of time as we think it's the kind of time that we know on a calendar. But
Right.
what I think you're saying is that time has a different definition in the XI world, and that it's less to do with the number and our obsession with putting a number to it, as much as it is about the frequencies or the connection that you have to nature, for example.
Well, universal time is very specific. It's just more specific than human time because human time can expand and collapse on itself. Like if you're having a boring day, you're expanding time and that time takes a lot longer. Okay. If you're synchronized with, say, nature time or universal time, yes, your day might be, say, expansive, but your rhythmic cycles, your biological cycles are still running with nature's time, not your brain time, not, say, society's time. And that's where things get messed up. Say, for example, that you're stressed out. Okay. This is a big thing for women, right? People get stressed out. Women get stressed out, and then their cycles are off, or their hormonal balance is off. And men are the same way, but again, it's just more prevalent in women. So this is why I'm using it. But again, men do the same thing. So why? So again, that's because you're trying to synchronize, or your body is synchronizing with something that's a variable that's always fluctuating, like your church group, your family group. Again, cycles or time cycles are always variable or changing all the time. Society's time is changing. Again, human time always changes. It's never, say, constant. So when you reset yourself, or when you set your cellular, say, body clock, and each cell within your body has a clock, and that's why it knows what to do, when to do it, at the exact time, all the time for you. The further away you are from, say, the clock of nature, your natural time, your natural element that your body is used to, the more, say, problems that you'll have. Again, hormonal systems off, sleep cycles off, all those cycles that run on your biorhythm will be all off. The way to reset all of them for you, and there's thousands, by the way, not just three, there's thousands. What will happen is that you reset yourself into the present moment. And then you're on autopilot. And as you become on autopilot, your hormones start to balance out. And again, this is proven through people who do the 18-day hyper day meditations, some of the other, techniques that we use as well, spatial referencing and so on. Everything starts to harmonize, or everything starts to balance out. And this is where your, say, biorhythm, your physiological, say, rhythm of your body starts to synchronize with itself. And this is where you become optimal. And this is where actually athletes can access more of their potential if their biorhythm is synced with, say, a higher or more precise, say, unit of time, like nature.
Obsessing too much over these numbers, if you were to talk about biorhythms as they pertain to this 23, 28 day and 33-day cycles. In the XI world, it's really not about obsessing about those numbers at all.
No.
It's really more about letting that go and getting yourself to the point where you are optimizing yourself on autopilot, regardless of those numbers, which is our brain's way of putting a number and a finite definition on something, because it's the only way we know how to reconcile it.
Absolutely. And just knowing those numbers, I mean, it's always good to know, like, when you're, say, the most alert, for example, your brain cycle, right? Is there's certain optimal times when you're the most alert. It's good to notice that. But again, if you're off cycle because your body clock is based on, again, say your company time or your family time, it shouldn't be, because again, it gets very disorienting or distorting for you. You want to reset it back to nature time, because that's your natural standard, or that's your default standard. Once you're once you're reset to your default standard, then you'll start to see natural patterns that happen automatically for you. Oh, it's like at 11 o'clock, this is where I get, genius thoughts, just come pouring into my mind. So you might want to take time during that time to write, or create, or do something, rather than answering emails and so on like that. But the key is, most people do it the reverse. They want to, and the reason why they probably want to know those 3 cycles, or scientists come up with this, is like, okay, at 3 o'clock I have meetings, and then I want my biorhythm to adjust to those meetings. That shit doesn't work, guys. It doesn't care about your meetings, about your personal life. It does not care. It's the other way around. Okay. You want to synchronize with what's happening at a higher level. Again, nature time and beyond, but we don't need to talk about that. Unless you want to get, say, spiritually advanced, or again, self-actualized, you want to synchronize yourself with universal time. And that's where you can access, say, higher levels of consciousness or awareness or different realities. Okay. That's totally something else. And that's, again, biorhythms or synchronicity. But for most people, what we're talking about, if you can just synchronize your cellular clocks, and again, you've got trillions of cells that create you. If you can synchronize or harmonize with just nature's time, you'll be much better off. You'll be a lot healthier. You'll be a lot more, say, intelligent. You'll be a lot more connected and intuitive and energetic, and more useful, by the way.
Mas, a question about the 18-day hypermeditation program.
Yes.
Is there how does that program bring people closer, if at all, to helping them synchronize themselves cellularly, as you just mentioned, with nature? Does the 18-day hypermeditation program touch on that, or help people to align more to nature's frequencies or time? And I am doing air quotes.
So the 18 days is all about, again, space and time. It's all about synchronizing, not just what's up here, not just making you feel better up here, but synchronizing every cell of your body, where you are, again, trillions of cells synchronized, harmonizing as one unit. Okay. And then if you are harmonized in one unit, like, in lockstep, you can create massive amounts of energy, by the way. This is where, super successful individuals, where normal people go, how the hell did they get so much energy to do that? Because they're synchronized in that time, and they use time as a momentum. Most people, what they do is, like, their brain chemistry or their brain cells are off in another time frame. Their heart is off in another time frame because they're worried about their loved ones. Their hormones are off because, again, it might be their period time, or they're going through a midlife crisis if you're a guy, and so on like that. So again, your body's all over the place as far as time frames go, and that's what messes or deharmonizes you. And then also, this is the number one cause of inflammation in the body. Wow. Especially nerve disorders. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I've had tens of thousands, or actually hundreds of thousands of client sessions, where I just see time and time again that a lot of nerve problems are because different body parts are in different biorhythms. They're running separate systems of their own. You have to synchronize, again, the trillions of cells as one. Hence, being one, being whole, being complete, all those things that you've ever heard about, right? Being natural. Well, the 18 days and exponential intelligence, just gives you the 1, 2, 3 steps on how to be whole, be complete, be present, be in the moment, be in time automatically. just like your autonomic nervous system. It does it for you automatically, so you don't have to worry about all that. So you can go on and be the best possible self that you can be. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what you want.
We'll link around this video,
Mhm.
or if you're listening to the podcast, we'll link 18-day hyper meditation,
Yes.
so that you can find out more information about it, because it is
Absolutely.
transformative, and it
Yeah.
does allow you to harmonize yourself and really start taking you on the path to, like you said, that limitless self, or that wholeness that you can achieve when you go down this path. And then maybe what happens too, then, Moss, is you sort of negate the necessity to obsess over these rhythmic biocycles of 23, 28, 33, because if you are harmonized with nature, as you said before, things are happening on autopilot. And
Right.
now, we can sort of let those numbers go and just be wholly and focused on you being the best possible self that you can be.
Right.
I wanted to ask you one last question. What is a personal frequency signature? I'd love for you to explain that.
A personal frequency signature is that you have a whole subset of frequency signatures that create you. For example, everything is a frequency. According to, say, quantum physics, quantum neuroscience, everything operates out of a frequency. For example, the color of your hair basically resonates at a certain frequency, so it represents the color of your hair. Does that make sense? You change the frequency, you would change the color of your hair or the color of your eyes or body structure or whatever it is. Again, the key is that everything is a frequency. So a personal frequency signature is all the frequencies that create you, okay? Right down to every detail. Again, your hair, your eye color, your physical body structure, how you're going to age, how you're going to become successful. All those details are, again, within your personal frequency signature. Once you start to understand your personal frequency signature, or your master blueprint, basically that's what it is. Once you start to understand how you're made or what you're going to create, then you can start editing that master blueprint. And from there, you can move on and start to edit it. And then that's where life really changes. Otherwise, you're just changing it up here. Your master blueprint never changes.
Is the personal frequency signature a substitute for biorhythms?
No, it's part of it.
Part of it. Okay.
Your signature literally is how you resonate. For example, if you're going to go on a date, right, you're going to represent yourself in a certain way on a date. That is based on your frequency signature. Most people try to change their psychological value or the way they look, or they try to be somebody else. But again, their frequency signature stays the same. That date might go good, but then the relationship turns sour because their underlying, say, frequency signature on how they see relationships didn't change.
Didn't change. It stayed the same.
It changed the same. So you have to change your frequency signatures underneath, which changes, again, once you change that, it would change your biorhythm, again, to be, say, a healthier you in this case.
Fascinating. I love it, Moss. This
Thank you
is
so
really,
much.
really great. I think we've explored this idea of biorhythms, determined that there is a better way, that if you are adhering to the XI way of life, then you don't even have to, everything happens on autopilot. You're so aligned and you're so in tune with who you are and harmonized with nature that the biorhythms, that doesn't even come into play as much as it is that you are just harmonized with who you truly are. So I think this
Absolutely.
is fascinating. Thank you so much, Moss. And we'll link to 18-day hyper meditation around this post as well.
Thank you.